What's up, everybody? Back for another WutheringWaves video. In this video, we're going to talk about what weapon you should pick from the level 45 box. So once you hit level 45, you're going to be able to select one of the weapons on the screen here. Very strong weapons. It's very cool that they did this because I'm going to be honest with you, I kind of goofed. Well, I think you should definitely get one of each of these weapons before you summon on the character banner. For reference, I'm talking about this banner. I summoned on this, just kind of ripping multis just because I was trying to get characters, and I knew that I'd probably have a better chance summoning here than summoning here because I was like, oh, maybe I could get a 5-star like Farina. And then I thought about it. I was like, okay, hang on, nah, because if you summon on this banner and you lose your 50-50, you can get like Verena, Encore, whoever, right? But if you summon on this, you're guaranteed the weapon. Therefore, the only way to get these weapons after the 45 box is to pull them from this banner. So I said, whoops, I think I could have had a weapon by now, which is a big whoopsie on my part because they don't really hand these out too much anymore. So do that if you're wondering what you should use standard banner currency on. But regardless, you are able to pick one for free. So even if you had an oopsie, you are still able to pick one. Let's pick this. There we go. Boom. That's not what I wanted. That's crazy. I meant to click on that. We love long loading screens in WutheringWaves. Anyway, so you hit 45. You're wondering what one you should pick. Luckily, it's pretty easy to figure out which one is the best. Obviously, if you use different characters, this is going to be a bit different. But let's go over what they do real quick. The sword is attack and crit rate, and the passive is energy regen by 12.8%. When resonant skill is cast, increase attack by 6%, stack up to 2 times. Effect lasts for 10 seconds. Then the broadsword is going to be attack and attack percent, increases energy regen by 12.8%. When resonant skill is cast, resonance liberation damage is increased by 7%, stack up to 3 times. Effect lasts for 12 seconds. Then the pistol is going to be increases energy regen by 12.8%. Wow. Seems they all have that, right? When Ultra skill is cast, increase incoming resonators attack by 10%, stack up to 1 times. This effect lasts for 14 seconds. Then the gauntlets is, of course, energy regen by 12.8%. When hitting a target with resonant skill, increases basic attack damage by 10%, lasting for 8 seconds. When hitting a target with basic attacks, increase resonance skill damage by 10%, lasting for 8 seconds. Then, last but not least, the rectifier, which is going to be energy regen by 12.8%, right? I forgot to mention the pistols is crit rate and the gauntlets are attack percent. Sorry. Attack percent for the rectifier increases energy regen 12.0%. When dealing basic attack damage, increase basic attack damage by 3.2%, stacking up to 5 times. This effect lasts for 8 seconds and can be triggered 1 time every 0.5 seconds. So that's what they do. As you can tell, the pistols and the sword are instantly going to have more use because they have crit rate, therefore allowing you to build a crit damage for cost echo instead of a crit rate one. As long as you get decent crit rate rolls, you should be fine on that front. So that is pretty helpful for those, so they instantly get a bump with that. So let's go over to this list really quickly. Let me move it up a little bit. All right, so the bottom two are if you use a DPS build. Obviously, if you use a support build, they're going to be a bit different, but let's move them into the respective slots. As you can see, for the sword users, they have quite a bit of characters who can use the sword. So you have the most variety with them. Obviously, if you are maining someone like Calcharo or Encore and you don't have a 5-star weapon for them, you should probably pick that, right? Always pick your main character, get them their weapon. I think that is the best way to play. But if you're wanting to see who you get the most value of, the sword is easily the best because you can use it on the Spectre Rover, you can use it on the Havoc Rover. Any future Rover will also use sword. Sunhua uses it, Dajin, Yang Yang. A lot of use, right? That's why I recommend picking the sword, because it is also a very, very, very good weapon, right? Especially with crit rate. Then for the gun, these characters, while, these two might not be the most used. Morphe is extremely strong, and it gives them crit rate, which is nice to actually do a little bit of damage to Morphe. And the outro skill is very helpful because Morphe is a good support. So if you're using him with Jin Yun, then switch. Jin Yun gets an attack buff from the weapon. It's a win-win. So that is why I recommend getting the gun second if you already have the sword. Then the broadsword and rectifiers, I would say, are basically even, right? Jian obviously wants his weapon a bit more than the free one, and then Encore and Yinlin, while can both use the rectifier, Yinlin's weapon is better for both of them, so that is why they are one slot lower. But for Calcharo, that weapon was made for him basically. I mean, it was also technically made for Encore, but Yinlin's is just really, really good. So unfortunately for Encore, she wants Yinlin's now. But since this is Kacharo's best weapon, I have him a slot higher. And then down at the worst one is Fist, because, you know, the whole these two can be ran support and they don't use their weapons. And then your last one is good old Ice Boy. It was basically made for him, which is the cool thing, but he kinda is like the worst 5-star to pick. Not a great DPS. A lot of people really have been showing how much they don't like him. I'm not saying he's trash and completely useless, but when you're the worst character and then your weapon is really only used for you, and if you build one other character a certain way, easily seen as the worst one to pick from. Even if the weapon itself isn't terrible, it's just, who would you really use it on? Every other character uses a different weapon, such as freaking Baizi or Verena. They don't use their Rectifier, obviously, because they're like going to be more support build or healing build, or I believe the other Fist guy is more ult based, so he uses a 4-star one, if I remember correctly. But this is pretty much the list that I have for what order you should get them in. Obviously, if you already have the sword, definitely don't get a dupe of it. It is much better to have one of each before you chase dupes. Please don't get dupes. You can always switch it. Even if you have them on the same team, just use a 4-star one. It's, I wouldn't say a complete waste, but having like 3 swords for each character you're using when you could easily just use a 4-star one and have like more if you have his gun, or Kachara has his broadsword, would be infinitely better. So anyway, let me know in the comments which one you are going for, which character you're getting it for, and what level you are. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe for more WutheringWaves content, and I'll catch y'all in the next video. Thanks for watching.